Hello.
Samantha Skory, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Long
We
time
got
no
sound.
see.
I know, right? We got sound going. We've got audio and visual, so that's good.
Yep, nothing too crinkly yet.
We got a few people already joining us.
Hello.
We'll start right around two. And I can't wave to them because you're the host.
Oh, I can.
Yes, so you are.
I will be the designated waiver.
That's the drawback I noticed right here. Hannibal has joined us, and
Mm-hmm.
um, David has also
Hello.
joined us. So we'll start at two. I just wanted to make sure we go a few minutes early and say hello to people and get situated. How's your morning going?
It's been good. Not too eventful, but nice at least.
Yeah. How was the weekend? Was just gorgeous, wasn't it? I mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
beautiful weather. It was in the 80s.
It
It was
was. I
just
went on a bunch of walks. I also graduated with my master's on Saturday, so that was fun.
so you gave it away.
That's the only thing I did this weekend.
That was one of the questions.
I had to make it sound like it wasn't too
You didn't do it.
boring.
You didn't do it. Because I do want to talk about that. I think that's an amazing feat, and this is actually it was a master's in international relations, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Well, I won't say any more, but um, whether you graduated or not, or whatever you did, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it was really nice. It was a nice little breeze going, and especially like in May,
I know. I'm
it's
waiting for
uh,
it to
it's
get like
pleasant.
really hot, but for now it's been super nice.
Yes. Well, you know what? I think we could. It's right at 2 o'clock, and maybe since we're talking about heat, we could. Let me shut off my emails so people don't get the ding every time I get it. Um, Talking about heat, El Paso's pretty hot,
It is,
but it's a
but
dry heat.
yes, yes. It's the only thing that makes it tolerable. You know what you're getting with the heat, at least. The humidity is what kills you here, or at least for me.
Yeah. Do you have a preference?
Yes, the dry heat for sure.
Mm.
Plus,
It's
it's the
very.
desert, so as soon as the sun goes down, it's nice and cool. You can sit outside and kind of perfect, actually.
When my parents lived there, we've talked about it a little bit about
Hmm.
my time in El Paso, and they would wash their car, and within a day or so, and they lived right off of Mesa going
Oh yeah,
north,
it's
and
around where I
so
am.
is that right?
Hmm.
And and I mean, their car was always with the sand all over it. It looked like they went to the beach or something, but surely they didn't. It's pointless, is it not, to wash your car there because
Yeah,
of
I
all.
I never did, but that may be just a personal preference. But it was also too hot too, so by the time you're outside for 2 minutes, the heat of the car is just like emanating off, so it's not worth it.
Mm. So, tell us a little bit about. Are you from El Paso?
Yes, I am. I
Okay.
moved to San Antonio for college, and I've been here ever since.
Okay. And for people who are just tuning in, we are talking to Samantha Skory, who is actually very much involved in the young professionals group and has a lot of interest in international relations and whatnot. And we'll dive into all of that shortly. We decided to flip the script because I was thinking all the interviews we've done, I've been on top of the screen, and I said, you know what?
Change it
Why
up.
don't we switch things around a little bit and have you do the be the host? And then I was like, I want to wave at these people, but I keep tapping the screen and I
I
can't.
will.
So
I
I see
will.
I see the drawbacks to it. But um, so you were born and raised in El Paso, and how was it growing up there?
Oh, it's really, really nice. It's kind of an ideal place to grow up. It's a very big city, but it has the small town feel. Everyone kind of knows each other. One of the little followers is my roommate, who's also from El Paso.
Oh,
So
very
we
nice.
all find each other. Even in completely different cities, you will always find someone from El Paso.
Well, in the last year or so, and it may have been longer, I have noticed that there are many people from El Paso here. I don't
Hmm.
know what the numbers are because it's only tested with testimonials. I ran into a former high school friend of mine from El Paso High School, um, who uh, who I hadn't seen in, I'm giving out my age, but a long time ago, since the '90s, since the late '90s, early '90s. Oh God. But have you found a lot of people from El Paso here?
Yeah, we're all very vocal about it because we're all very proud of being from El Paso. So we find ways to bring it up, even if it's not super subtle. But I think we're all very proud to be from El Paso, and we still have a lot of family and friends there. So we try to go as often as possible. And it just comes up a lot more than most cities do, I think.
What do you miss the most, would you say?
Mm, my family still lives there, so definitely them. But the food, the mountains, a bunch of just like lifelong friends, childhood memories, all of that. But I still get to go back as relatively often as I can. It's a little bit of a drive, but
Yes. Oh God, yes. I've made that drive many a times. I
it's
I
not
did that
terrible.
drive. Wayne just joined in. Hey
Ah,
Wayne.
Wayne.
Uh, if anyone has driven I-10 West going toward El Paso, before there was iPhones and satellite radio, you're and I know you can't really relate, but going there with trying to find an FM dial that's actually functioning to listen to some radio. Otherwise, there's dead air.
Hmm.
Like right past Van Horn, there's like nothing.
Oh yeah, for sure. My car
But
only has a cassette player, so I
oh,
feel like I'm kind of in that same boat when I make that drive.
okay. So that makes me feel. You know what a cassette is? That's
Yeah.
good. I always uh, pick on my girlfriend who's actually also from El Paso,
Yes.
coincidentally.
See, we're everywhere.
Because they're everywhere. Well, let's get a little into knowing who you are a little bit more. So you're half. Tell us what you are, what your ethnic background is, because I think it's fascinating, and also because I'm from that part of the world too.
Hmm.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So my mom's side of the family is from Mexico, from El Paso. They've kind of been there for multiple generations. So I have the Hispanic side, and then growing up next to the border, I definitely have that everywhere. And then even living in San Antonio, it's just this very, very deep Hispanic culture that I feel very ingrained with. But my dad's side of the family is Lebanese, and they were part of the founders of Aramco, years back. So
Hmm.
they traveled all over the world, met a million and a half different sheiks and everything. So I have all of these colorful stories from them from my childhood of meeting a million and a half people living around the world, all the traveling that I ever
Wow.
did. So I grew up hearing all of it.
Was that kind of, do you think, plotting your mind in a sense to become interested in international relations and
I don't think I
travel?
knew it at the time, but as I've gotten older, for sure, it's
Hmm.
definitely played a really big role in wanting to see and like learn about all these places that I've heard about my whole life and trying to like delve into it even further to kind of figure out the impact of my family kind of in the world, if that makes any
Mm,
sense.
yeah. So do you speak Arabic and
I can
Spanish?
say grandfather. That is what I learned.
In in
In
which
Spanish, I
language?
can speak, well, in Arabic, I can say grandfather
Uh,
and then like food words. And then in Spanish, I used to be a lot better, but moving away from the border, I haven't had to practice as much. So I try,
mm,
but I'm not quite at the level I want to be yet.
wow. it's not an easy language. At least the written portion of Arabic
Oh gosh,
is not
yeah.
easy at all. So okay, so you've been here. You came here for you went to St. Mary's, right?
I went to
No,
undergrad at Trinity, and then I just
Trinity.
graduated
That's right.
from St. Mary's.
That's right. That's right. And what made you pick Trinity?
Um, it's a beautiful campus. It's a really, really wonderful university. They put such a big emphasis on the experiential learning kind of side of it. So using internships, taking classes that enhance your learning experience as opposed to just taking for your major. You learn about different ways to think of things and then different ways to kind of figure out who you are outside of a career field, essentially. So really, really invaluable experiences and then just wonderful people. And
They
also it's
have
just
a.
beautiful campus.
It is. It's a. I remember getting my when I was studying for my master's in poli sci. I ventured off to the library there to check out books, but also it's a very quiet campus. It's very nice,
Hmm.
and at least okay, I was at the library, so I guess it should have been quiet.
Yeah.
But and of course, Dr. Anderson, who's the president of the university, is on our board of directors, and
Yep.
Katsui, Dr. Katsui
Hmm.
Chavez. We work with him closely. I'm actually on the advisory board for the Center for International Engagement.
Yeah, no, they're
Uh,
wonderful.
so it's a great team out there. I really. They also have the
The
speaker
mayor,
series and whatnot. What's that?
the mayor is also from there.
That's right. That's right. How could I forget?
We're very
Yes,
proud.
yes. It's great. So you graduate, and then while you were at Trinity, did you do traveling, and did you
I
do other
studied
things?
abroad
Or?
for a semester. I went to Copenhagen.
Hmm.
Loved it there. It was basically like utopia. They just figured out how to do everything very well and very clean and very precisely. So it's definitely been shaping me to kind of travel and compare it to that. And then after I came back from there, I lived in DC for a little bit, did internships, stuff like that. And then I've been
So
back in San Antonio.
what made you pick Copenhagen?
I did a cross-cultural psychology program that they are really
Mm,
well accredited with. So I did my undergrad
mm.
in psychology. So I thought that would be a really great way to travel, do all the things that I want to do, but also be gaining the valuable experience I need for, my degree.
Mm. It's a very forward, progressive country, and
Hmm.
I think from what I've read, their wage gaps are much less,
Yeah.
and they are very
Hmm.
environmentally conscious, and of course, I mean there are bikes everywhere. I
Oh
see.
my gosh, yeah. You got to
I
be
mean, if you don't
careful.
know
You
how,
get sideswiped.
so you come back from there, and then you finish up at. Oh, you also did the internship in DC while you were at
Hmm.
Trinity,
Yeah,
and that must have been really cool because you were interning with Congressman O'Rourke at the time
I was. Yeah.
from your hometown. So what was that
El
like?
Pasoans everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was a really, really good experience. Definitely a great way to see the inner workings of the government. I was working all the time. I feel like I was constantly answering phones and typing up memos, and I gave tours at the Capitol, which was really cool. So I have a whole spiel about all the different landmarks of the Capitol. And it was just really exciting to kind of be in the center of it all. It was also the same year that the Marriage Equality Act was passed.
Mm.
So being able to walk a building over to the Supreme Court and kind of be able to celebrate that was kind of amazing.
Wow. How memorable is that? And then, of
Oh my
course,
gosh.
was there already a hint that he might be running for office at the time, or?
I don't think it was at that time. I mean, he was
Hmm.
very excitable. He's definitely like very, very happy to be doing all the things he can for the El Paso people, the Texas people, all that. But there was not talks in the office yet. He was probably keeping it under wraps for a bit.
Right. How and were you intrigued or curious at all to join and help out with the presidential campaign, or did you have a lot of things going on here?
I helped out in little ways I could, a little bit of fundraising, stuff like that. But my parents were a lot more involved just because they were actually in El Paso. So they went to all the rallies they could. They bought every single shirt they could find, basically. But being supportive
Cool.
in the ways I can.
And I don't know if are you could hear me well?
Mhm.
If at any time, because you're breaking up just a little bit, I don't know if it's my phone. If it freezes up, just click out of it, and then we can
Okay,
restart it again. So, in case that happens, but
sounds good.
I
Give me a heads
think we
up.
could continue. Well, I think you've been kind of like
Oh no.
just a few
Okay, let's
times,
try this.
and that may be just um, okay. Okay, so how about okay, now I can hear my
Oh
my
no.
echo.
I'll put in other headphones then.
Yeah.
Let's see if this works.
All right.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay.
Triple A Alvarez has joined us. All right.
Waving.
Waving like you don't care, but you do. And that's why
I
you're
do.
here, helping out the World Affairs Council. Um, so you come back and you graduate. So what are your plans after you graduate?
Um, with my master's?
When you were at Trinity?
Oh, at Trinity. So I've been doing graphic design for the last few years now. Been working at some of the various universities in the city. Definitely getting a really good inside look of the administrative side for sure. And doing a lot with marketing. Um, but I was working at St. Mary's University,
Hmm.
and through my job there, I got part of my degree paid for. So, had to go back, might as well. It would be
That's
wasteful
great.
not to. So I started a international relations program and kind of delved into that and have been kind of, in the thick of it ever since. Have really, really pushed myself to be part of that field.
To kind of talk a little bit about your internship, because that's with something that is very relatable to the World Affairs Council. The now it's called the Global Engagement Center,
Yes, yes. They just
but
kind
the
of went
International
through
Relation.
renaming. So it was the International Relations Department of the Economic Development section of the city of San Antonio. So working with the economic development section to kind of bring in international business, kind of work with some of our international businesses and kind of bringing everyone together to, for the benefit of the whole city. And that was really
What
nice,
is
actually.
what is it that keeps you going in the direction that you're headed as far as IR is concerned? What do you think it is?
For me, I think it's very much the fact that anything that you do can make like a literal world of difference in the IR field, because you're not just dealing with, one city or one country. You're dealing with places all over the world that are kind of going through very similar things. So being able to kind of bridge that divide and figure out ways to, benefit the whole of the world as opposed to just like bits and pieces of it.
Very nicely said. I'm gonna take off my earphones because I could still hear myself. So hang on one second. All right. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I really like this here. Hang on one second. All right. So, see, I can still hear my echo. I don't know why. The wonders of technology, right?
We're in a new age.
Those listening, can you hear an echo, or are you guys okay?
We'll see.
All right, it's all right. That's what happens on live. All right, we'll just do it with this. Um, all right. So, so you're okay. Cool. We got a thumbs up. Thank you. From K Mine.
She just
Okay.
graduated as well. She's in my grad school program. Another
Oh,
IR.
wonderful. So, I have a few more questions about your experience because you've got, for graduating from a university and also getting your master's. Um, you're when we have talked, you're very worldly uh, in what you have seen and you've experienced. And I do want to get back to that. I do want to talk a little bit about what you want to do. Where does this all fit in? What is it? What are we doing after all this is done and said?
It's a big question. Um, I don't know if I've fully decided yet. There's definitely things that I want to do like 5, 10 years down the line. Um, but in the immediate thing, I think it's just figuring out how to build up to, those other kind of worldlier kind of goals. Being able to work for the UN would be incredible. Joining
Mm,
an embassy in probably Eastern Europe is kind of a dream of mine,
mm.
but that's not like a right now thing. That's something I definitely need to be building towards, which is what I'm excited to do. So I'm trying to, take language courses, learn a bunch of different languages, see what I can build up to in the future.
What are you learning now?
I've been
What
learning
languages?
Polish on and off, and I'm terrible at it, but it's been very interesting. I'm hoping to start Russian classes in the fall, I think. So mostly those, because a lot of my interest is based around Eastern Europe.
Well, you got your bases covered. If when I lived in Poland, a lot of people spoke Russian, and uh, and they're learning one seemed to be easier for people to learn the other.
Mhm. That's what
So
I've
I
heard.
think I think have you been to Poland?
I have, yes. After I studied abroad, we traveled around a bit.
Where did you end up going in Poland?
We went to Krakow.
Cool.
Beautiful. We really, really liked it. Everyone was so friendly as well.
Yes, it's much smaller than Warsaw, but it's
Hmm.
quaint in itself. Um, so are you actively, so you just graduated. Let's talk about that. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So you don't have the walking part, the ceremony.
No, not so
Was it done
much.
online?
Hmm. Yeah. They did a video kind of scroll with all the names in it, which is really nice. My family watched, they cheered along and
Oh,
everything.
that's so cool.
It's like they were there.
And what was your favorite part of having this master's? Was there an area that you found more interesting? Was there a concept that you really liked? What was it that you took away for
Well,
the?
there were a few things that I kind of really tried to delve into. I did a lot of research on human trafficking and sex trafficking around the world, which has kind of pushed me into a really interesting sex trafficking field in San Antonio because it's still a pretty prevalent problem even here. So I partnered with a few nonprofits to kind of help, with some marketing, social media, stuff like that, help them in their endeavors here. I also did a number of papers and research projects on Eastern Europe, of course, and then on the sectarian influence in Lebanon as well. So
Mm.
kind of drawing from, my own cultural background and my own interests to do a bunch of research and papers on.
And it's really I didn't realize about human trafficking. We were when I worked for Big Brothers Big Sisters, we had um, someone from Homeland Security who briefed us about human trafficking and the significance of how it's happening. The I-35 corridor.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's such an international. I mean, we're all being affected by COVID-19 around the world, but there are other things that is happening in our own backyards.
Oh, absolutely.
Um,
And a lot of it is really subtle. A lot of
so
people don't even realize that they're involved in the field. A lot of it is, abusive relationships that they're kind of coerced into. And that's a form
mm,
of sex trafficking as well. Even though they're not, having to cross any borders or anything, it's still considered part of that field, which is really, really prevalent, especially in San Antonio.
it will, and also during sporting events and
Mhm.
the professional games and the NCAA
Yeah,
Final Four and all
the
that
Super Bowl
stuff.
has
It's
the highest rate of sex trafficking in the world.
Well, I know prior to my joining the council, I know we did a program on human trafficking, but I think it really is would do justice to really bring that back, and maybe it's something that you can help out with
Yeah, I'd love to.
to put together. I don't know if it'll be in person because of the world we're in right now. Um, so tell us about the World Affairs Council. So you've dove in head first into the committee, and you're very active, and I could tell you want to do a lot more. What made you become involved in the council, and how about other people in your shoes who are listening, to get them involved? What do you say to them?
Well, I got involved because of my internship with the city. So they definitely do a lot of work with you guys. There's a big partnership in all the international organizations in San Antonio. Some of them are kind of hidden, so it helps to have that network already built out. And for me, it's been really nice just to be able to um, be with more like-minded people that are also very internationally minded, and figuring out different ways to get the San Antonio community involved. You guys do a lot of, especially right now, doing a lot of talks, a lot of these panels, a lot of meetups, um, just to get people more aware of all the international, influences of the city. And that was definitely pretty prevalent in my internship as well. For
Have,
like-minded people, I think it would be a
mhm.
really good experience to obviously build up a network, build up people that, share similar interests, but also figure out all of the international opportunities in the city. It really is a very internationally minded place. It's just, you got to be able to look for it and find it.
Have you been able to meet people, whether it's through our events or with your internship at the city? What has that been like to be exposed, like to the mayor's office and the mayor, and how about the access of being active and actively involved? How has that been?
Oh, it's really incredible. It kind of just shows you how, as big of a city, how kind of locally minded I think we are. We're all very community based. We're all very cooperative with each other. So even though something like the mayor's office is this really prestigious thing, being able to have an internship that granted me access to all the people just working hard and doing incredible things, I think was a really good experience. And kind of just seeing how it works at a more local level and figuring out how to work at that at even a bigger level and how much San Antonio itself is working towards its community.
Cool. Very good. Very good. Well, as we're winding down, it's almost been 30 minutes. It seems like it just went by very quickly.
It
Um,
did.
um, we share a lot of similar interests, and so we just talk, and the next thing you know, it's all. And we haven't even touched on the subject of food, which we both like. We could talk about tabbouleh and
Yes,
and
most
all that
definitely.
all that other stuff. Um, tell us a little bit about your volunteer experience. You've done some. Um, I know you did Haven for Hope, but there was this fashion show thing that you had told me about.
Yeah, so
Talk a
me
little
and
bit
some
about that.
friends, yeah, me and some friends from college, actually, my college roommate, um, from my freshman year. we've stayed very close, and she works with a morning news broadcast and sort of did these smaller segments about having clothes being specifically made for everyone, not having it be, you have to be just like this tiny model waist, basically. And she wanted to do something a little bit bigger with that, so we kind of all got together and figured out how to do a very big community fashion show. So each year we pick a different charity, and all of the proceeds go to the different charity each year. But it's very full circle San Antonio. So it's all San Antonio models, all San Antonio boutiques, and then all the money goes to a San Antonio charity. And we've
Wow.
traded off number of years. So we've done for Dress for Success. We've done raised a bunch of money for Haven for Hope. We did a bunch for San Antonio Threads this last year. We raised about 30,000.
Wow.
Which
And you have
in
it
our
like,
third year.
don't you have it like at the Tobin or something? I mean, it's a
This
pretty,
year it was
it's a
supposed
serious
to be
event.
at the Tobin, but
Oh,
we're
okay.
trying to figure out how we can kind of do a pivot, because we still
Mm.
want to do it, and we want to do it justice, because we want the enough money to be raised for, a charity that's very deserving of it. So we're gonna do a little bit of a pivot, but it's still
Well,
gonna
if it's a fashion show, if there's, I mean, that seems like an event that could be done digitally
Mhm.
uh,
You don't
and
get the glamour of the Tobin, but
right, right. But a fashion show is something, like our award dinner. I guess you could also do that, um, stream it or something, but perhaps more so than more like the fashion show. Any other volunteer experiences that you want to share? You've got a
I kind of mentioned I do help out with a anti. Yeah. I do
okay.
some volunteering with an human trafficking nonprofit called For Her. And they do a lot of
Mm.
community outreach to help women in the community that are victims of sex trafficking. So that's been a really
Is
cool
that a
experience.
local organization?
Yes, it is.
And it's called For Her.
Mhm.
Very good. Anything else you want to share about yourself that people don't know? Any creative hobbies or hobbies or
You can
I
see
know you
kind
like
of
to read.
here. I do embroidery for fun. They're kind of elaborate.
Oh, very cool. You did all those?
Hmm. Yes. But yeah, it's a lot of reading. I've been doing a ton of that, especially now. Finishing up one of Condoleezza Rice's books,
Mm.
one of her
Her
many,
latest, the last one she did, or
called Diplomacy.
okay.
Very, very informative and a ton of content.
Mm.
You're reading through decades of history.
Well, it's I like to read read biographies, but things memoirs I also like to read, but I always have to keep in mind the who it's coming from and the how I guess any book, even a biography is like that, but it's less seemingly biased than that.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you're looking at the a variety of authors and from all different spectrums because it's important to know what other people are thinking and saying. Um,
There's a lot to
that's
be
one
learned
thing.
out there.
What's that?
There's a lot to be learned from out there.
That's right. And that's the World Affairs Council. We try to do that. Just that is bringing people to the limelight who can talk about their culture and talk about the issues and so people could where they're not specifically reading about it, but they're getting a 3D version of
Hmm.
okay, this is what's happening in Syria, or this is what's happening um, in Zambia, or and I
And being
think
able
it's
to
very
ask questions and kind of get to know the person themselves.
yes, that's right, that's right. So on Wednesday, I'll be talking to a friend of mine who I met in Poland. He's an economist. He now lives in the UK. He's teaching economics at Bournemouth University. So he's going to be streaming in live from the UK. And then we have Ambassador Moreno the week
Mhm.
after. And then the last week of May, which is the third, I guess in 3 weeks, we'll have the Secretary of State of Texas, Secretary Hughes, will be joining us, talking about the USMCA and other things having to do with U.S., Canada, Mexico relations. So we've got a
Exciting
full
things.
packed house. Yeah, very very exciting things. So thanks for joining me, or
Thank
thank you for
you.
allowing me to join you.
Yes. Thank you so
What do you
much.
got planned out for the rest of the day?
Going back to work.
Are
I'm
you
doing
actively seeking, because you said you do graphic design work and whatnot, are you do you have a, do you have the bandwidth to have more clients?
yeah, I do some freelance work. Right now I'm working with Trinity, so I'm helping out with their website migration, which has been very time consuming, but very interesting. There's a lot of content.
So if someone wants to hire you to help them out in those areas, they could just message you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Well, it has been a pleasure to speak with you. It always is.
Same, yes.
Um, I learned a little bit more from you than I knew beforehand. If you're interested in young professionals, please message the World Affairs Council. Message Samantha. She'd be happy to share with you um, about what we do. And we've got some, we're even doing happy hour during the time when we can't meet, and via Zoom. So reach out to us, let us know. And next week, we're actually going to talk to Jamie Waltman, who is one of our partners in doing our special events. So we're moving slightly away from the young professionals, making sure we share some of our other partners that are involved, um, and so keep a lookout for that. I think it's on Tuesday, and that's about it. Anything else, Samantha?
I'm all good here.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in, and you all have a wonderful, great week, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Bye.
Bye.